Welcome back to my series and my blog. It's April from April Miller Coaching. It is early in the morning, but I thought I'd get this out of the way so I can get some other things done. So I apologize for my hair being a mess. I've been sick the past couple days, so my voice sounds a little bit rashy or harsh or however you want to say that. So I apologize for that. So previously I talked about how what we say as adults can really influence children if we're not careful. And I had a child back in 2008, and ever since then, I've really evaluated myself and some of the mistakes that I've made and things that I've said, and I'm sure others have too. So we're all in the same boat together. For example, I tend to be a cusser. I have a potty mouth. Excuse me. I can cuss like a sailor, whatever you want to call it. I do that. And I remember at my daughter's third birthday party, something happened, and I just responded. I was like, "Son of a," and I stopped because I realized, oh, my kid's there, right? Well, she was so kind enough to finish that sentence off for me, and so it was funny, not funny. But so that's one example. Or sometimes we may say something adult like, and our child copies us when they're speaking to someone else. And many of these, copycat things, they can be just hilarious because they're using vocabulary that doesn't quite match with the age of child or the age that they are. Um, some of them are kind of shocking, and you're realizing, oh, I shouldn't have said that in front of them, that kind of thing. But however, when there's arguing or insulting or anything negative like this happening around a child, that's when it can really become an issue. And I realized this early on, and as soon as I had my daughter, I remember I was so dead set on making sure she would not grow up around anything negative like I did. Didn't want there to be any violence, no yelling, especially calling names, no door slamming or insulting of others in any way, and no teasing where it makes people feel uncomfortable and it feels like bullying. Those were my ground rules at the very beginning when I first had her. Um, and I promised myself that there would be support with whatever she wanted to try in her childhood. So if she wanted to do any sports or academic clubs or whatnot, and how there would be discussions, and there would still be negative consequences if rules were broken, but not it's not going to be the extremist, like on an extreme consequence. And I always told myself too that she would always be saying please and thank you. And to this day, I've tried to make sure that I've followed through with those things. I remember when she was younger, people praised her for being so polite and nice as a child and everything. And I've always, like I said, I've always supported her as well. I thought that was a very important. I'm huge into music, and I remember, I'd be singing or dancing or something, but I'd always be criticized for that, and it didn't make me want to keep doing it. I second guessed myself a lot, so I had no self-esteem. Could I have done a lot of good things with music in my life? Maybe. I played piano. And I love to sing. I mean, music is just my life. But I've always had problems with it. And even when I got a solo in junior high, I was very apprehensive about it because I figured I wasn't good enough because I'd always be made fun of. And so when I had that, it was I felt good, but at the same time, I didn't believe it. So I didn't want my daughter to go through that. So even when she sings, sometimes she's off key, sometimes her pitch is off, but I still encourage her and I listen to her and I look at her and I help her when she wants help. When she wants to try dance or gymnastics, I don't criticize every move she makes. I allow her teacher, her coach to give her feedback, because I feel like my feedback needs to be at least 99% positive towards her, to encourage her, because who knows? I mean, maybe she could be the next Mary Lou Retton or something. I mean, you never know. You never want to stop and put a roadblock in front of a child, even if you think maybe that's not the path for them. That's not our job. Our job is to support our kids. And this is something I felt that I didn't get enough of and why I felt, terrified during my life to ever do anything. When a child senses that criticism or sent no support with something, it gives them a complex and it makes them unsure of themselves. And so that's why I'm really focused on giving my daughter high self esteem, and I want her to feel good about herself and confident. And that's why it's so important to lift people up rather than cut them down and embrace that positive. Thanks for following my blog, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.